Yes.
Okay. Now, as Igor, I will also add only some new, probably, details to what I was talking about last year, because this is the problem which interests me and which I think is really very important, the role of water in bioenergetics. Well, first, Leone asked me just to introduce myself. A few words, yes, I'll say. So I'm professor. Do you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm professor of the Faculty of Biology, Moscow University, and I work at the Department of Bioorganic Chemistry, but I am a biophysicist with the emphasis on bio, also graduated from this Faculty of Biology. And so I'm more adherent to biology than to physics and to molecular biology. I like general biology more. And as a matter of fact, working all my life at the Faculty of Biology, only a couple of decades ago, I realized that biology, which is all based on water, is not considered at the Faculty of Biology at all, if not to talk about the Department of Ichthyology or Department of Hydrobiology, but there water is only the medium in which the animals which they study live. And when we're talking about so-called physical chemistry, chemical biology, biophysics, molecular biology, genetics, molecular genetics, and so on, practically you will not find water there. And I sometimes just emphasize such a thing that when you take the classical textbook of biochemistry by Leninger, which is more than 1,000 pages, there are only 2% of these pages, or even less than 2% of these pages, are devoted to water, while water constitutes at least 70% of our mass, of our body, or sometimes, I'll talk a little more about this, more than 99% of all mass of the living system. So we just begin only to recognize the water, though more than 2,050 years ago, and 500 years ago, Thales of Milet said already that water is the principle of all things, that all things are created from water and all things return to water. So what was understood 500 years ago, we begin to realize practically several decades ago. Though all living systems are basically water systems, and living state is essentially transformation of energy into useful work. So when we are talking about life, we are talking about energy. When we are talking about living things, we are talking about water aqueous systems. And my lecture will be just devoted to unification of two things, energy and living state. You see, again, we are standing, as they say, on the shoulders of heroes, of titans of science. And one of such heroes, one of such titans, was the Hungarian and American great scientist, one of the founders of the modern biochemistry, Albert Szent-Györgyi, who was a Nobel Prize winner for the discovery of vitamin C. And Albert Szent-Györgyi, he is the author of the word bioenergetics, biology and energy. We should, when we are talking about bioenergetics, we should start from his definition of bioenergetics. Bioenergetics is the science of production, transformation, and use of energy for the implementation of vital activities. His book entitled Bioenergetics appeared very, very long ago, in 1956. And I would say that until now, we still, I mean, scientific community, biological community, still do not understand bioenergetics as the founder of this science, Albert Szent-Györgyi, defined it. So he designed few principles of bioenergetics. First, he said that vital activity or living activity is produced by two types of energy: by energy stored in the chemical bonds, which he designs as E in brackets, for example, in ATP molecule. And that is the only form of energy, practically, which we study and teach students in our science courses. But there is another type of energy, that is mobile energy of excitation of biological structures, which he designs as E with the star, also in brackets. And so in order to, the task of bioenergetics is to reveal the mechanism of energy transformation in living matter into mechanical, electrical, and chemical work, which is just the life work. So according to this, to Szent-Györgyi, this energy which is stored in chemical bonds, starting from lipids, starting from carbohydrates, then converting into ATP molecules and other so-called macroenergetic molecules, though they are not macroenergetics at all. But then this energy should be converted into mobile energy of excitation of biological structures. And then this energy of excitation of biological structures, it is transformed into work. Albert Szent-Györgyi just proclaimed this, how many? Already 70 years ago. And also he, on one side, he was talking about the energy transformation and conversion into work. On the other side, he was talking about the material foundation of this transformation of energy. And the material foundation for this conversion of energy, he saw in water. He was not the only one. There were very few Russian scientists, and also Gilbert Lin at that time, but at least less than a dozen of big scientists understood the importance of water in 1950s for living state. And he also said that water, together with structural elements of the cell, forms an invisible system providing its stable electronically excited state. So, structural elements of the cell, which we study as proteins, polysaccharides, nucleic acids, lipids, and things like this, without water, they are not useful. They're simply chemicals. And in structured water, he was talking at that time already 70 years ago that water may be structured in living systems. In structured water, electronic excitation can exist for a surprisingly long time, which is extremely important for biological energy transfer. And that is, he also wrote in this book that bioenergetics is nothing else but the special aspect of water chemistry. So, what did he mean by the excited state of matter? As a matter of fact, there was another scientist who dramatically disappeared in 1930s in Soviet Union, but great, one of the founders of also of bioenergetics and theoretical biology, Erwin Bauer. Szent-Györgyi didn't know about Erwin Bauer's work in 1957. And according to Bauer, and then according to Szent-Györgyi, one of the major sources of free energy needed for the performance of work, sustaining living state, is the excited non-equilibrium state of cellular molecular and supramolecular structures, aqueous structures, hydrated structures. In a sense, our living state is the state of excitation, collective excitation, like in laser, when our living matter resides in an excited state, and then it goes into ground state, releases energy, and this energy is transformed into electrical work, into mechanical work, into chemical work. Our living state is a state where structure of matter is an excited state, and it differs from structure of the same matter in the equilibrium ground state. So again, this is the major in living systems. This is the major property of water to support excited state of molecules which live in together with water. So, what is the origin of electronic excitation in living matter? Uh, Electronic excitation may appear, in fact, only when the matter is pumped with high density energy, and high energy electrons or excited electron donors can be directly transferred to O2, allowing more direct use of their energy. So he, again, Sendierdi, he was talking that electrons from fuel, from carbohydrates and fats, can not only go to the electron transport chain in mitochondria and then slide down this electron transport chain, converting into ATP, but these electrons can directly can directly couple with oxygen. That was idea of Sendierdi again in 1950s. And when oxygen is directly reduced by these electrons, and this reduction is neutralized by protons, then after appearance of such intermediate products like hydroxyl radical, hydrogen peroxide, hydroxyl radical, hydrogen peroxide, superoxide radical, which are very short living, then the products of this reaction are water, that oxygen is reduced and something is oxidized by oxygen, and energy in the form of equivalent to light. Light in near infrared, light in visible part of the spectrum, and even in ultraviolet part of the spectrum. And the intermediate products of this reaction are reactive oxygen species. So this is, in fact, the burning, the classical burning as we know it. And what was the very brave, I would say, the suggestion of Sendierdi, that this burning may take place in living systems, converting converting the substances into electronically excited state. In fact, even at that time, it was already discovered that the more intense life is, the stronger it shows its paramagnetic properties due to free radicals formed in these single electron redox processes. So these unpaired electrons of free radicals, these are nanomagnets. And the more radicals originate, the more paramagnetic is a living system. That was also discovered in 1950s and then completely forgotten, because these free radicals are very highly energetic particles, and they were considered to be the pathological particles, because if they do not go for production of useful work, then they degrade the biomolecules such as proteins, nucleic acids, and so on. And the emphasis of their was at that time for many decades reactive oxygen species were considered as the particles which cause practically all pathological states. And only in the last 15, well, at least 20 years, we begin to understand that without reactive oxygen species, life cannot exist. These species are the source of energy of electron excitation as it was envisaged by Albert Szent-Györgyi. So, can water ensure the excited state of living matter, the another state of living matter, not ground, as it is considered by the contemporary biochemistry? And again, I just quote Szent-Györgyi that water forms an invisible system together with structural elements of the cell, providing a stable electronically excited state of the system. And in structured water, electron excitations can exist for a surprisingly long time, which is extremely important for biological energy transfer. And now let us just turn to real living systems, or I like to talk sometimes about extreme living systems. Sometimes they ask, is there living water? In fact, everybody knows, and some of us even had in our hands living water. For example, in a form of such a hydroid like jellyfish. Some jellyfishes, some species of jellyfishes consist of water on 99.9% by mass, and solids which are which are only interested in, for example, bioorganic chemistry and molecular biology, is only 0.1% of these living systems. And they are really living. They are very excited. For example, this is the species of jellyfish or medusa, which is shining light. That means that there is tremendously intense energetic processes go in this living water. And only few people are surprised that such a pure water lives in much more dirty water. For example, seawater in which these jellyfishes live, they contains much more solids and much less water by mass. Nevertheless, water is dynamically structured in jellyfish due to its interactions with solids embedded in it. Water serving the source of energy fueling vital functions. Water is responsible for integration of internal and external information and for organism reaction to it. So, though jellyfish should contain, of course, these particles, the biomolecules, in order to stay living, but it may be practically built only of water, not all practically, of water, and still water is alive, it is in this excited state. I said already, and I just repeated after Szent-Györgyi, rephrasing him, that water may be the source of electronic excitation, that water, in fact, may burn. Szent-Györgyi came to this conclusion himself, though if to look into the literature, it turns out that as far long ago as in 18th century, it was discovered that water is both the catalyst of burning and is also a fuel, that water may burn. And this discovery was was made by the British chemist Elizabeth Fulham, and published in a book which has a very long title, but it's a essay on combustion, essay about burning. In this book, she insisted that water is the necessary catalyst for combustion. For example, Dry coal doesn't burn in dry air. According to Elizabeth, here's a citation from this very, very old book, that carbon attaches to oxygen of the water and forms carbonic acid, while the hydrogen of the water unites with oxygen of the air and forms a new quantity of water equal to that decomposed. In order just not to think very long about this phrase, I give here the scheme. For example, when carbon is oxidized, we know that carbon combines with oxygen, and we have the very simple reaction: carbon plus oxygen is carbon dioxide. But according to Fulheim, more than 200 years ago, she said that carbon is oxidized by oxygen, which it takes from water molecules, and somehow water molecules should be split for this. She didn't think about how it happens. And hydrogens, which are released from the split water molecules, they combine with oxygen and produce water in the quantity which was used for carbon oxidation. So, in fact, carbon burning is not burning of carbon, it is water combustion, it is burning of water. Carbon is, of course, is oxidized, but water is also oxidized. So that is hydrogens of water which are oxidized, and it works as a catalyst. Water used and doesn't disappear; it returns back. It works as a catalyst. As a matter of fact, the catalysis was, as we know it, was discovered, or at least considered to be discovered, 100 years later, at the end of the 19th century. So Elizabeth Fulheim was discoverer not only of the very interesting process of water burning, but also of the catalyst. Now, more than 200 years later, already in the 21st century, it was shown that water is really a fuel, and that it can really burn. This discovery was made by the American inventor. He was not even a scientist, he was a radio technician, John Canzius. I will not, don't have time to tell how this discovery was made, and he didn't, it was a side effect of his another research. But he found that if you take seawater or salted water and puts this salted water near the generator of radio waves, and there is some spark, then this salted water under irradiation of radio waves from radio generator will start burning, and the temperature of this flame is more than 1,500 degrees. So it burns practically to the end, and only salt remains. So what burns? In fact, of course, it's not water which burns, it is hydrogen which is released from water molecules and combines back with oxygen molecules. So here we have this so-called water burning. By the way, when we think about the logs which are burning, these also are not just cellulose which is burnt and so on. This is also mostly hydrogen of carbohydrates which is oxidized by oxygen. So it turns out that water, which is used against burning, we know this very, very well. So we use water to extinguish flame, is the fuel itself. It also can burn. And why water is so special? Why can it extinguish flame, and why can it be a fuel? Because real water is never a homogeneous liquid, as it is written and as Igor told you in the previous lecture, residing in equilibrium with its environment. It is a multi-phase, complex dynamic system. So water, as we know it, water in a glass, of course, it is not equal to water which is in a living state in this jellyfish. These are two different waters which coexist with each other. The jellyfish may live in water like in a glass, and water like in a glass can produce water like a jellyfish, about which we were talking with Igor in the previous lecture. So, one of the forms of which gives water this heterogeneity was discovered or rediscovered by Jerry Pollock, of which we were talking already. He discovered the exclusion water, so to say, or exclusion zone water, the new aggregate state of water abundant in nature. And this discovery is very, very clearly described in his book, The Fourth Phase of Water, which I think should become the necessary textbook for all those who are interested in nature, not only in living nature, but also in non-living nature, in atmosphere, in oceans, in rivers, and so on. So what was discovered by Pollock? He discovered that near the hydrophilic surfaces, this polyvinyl acetate gel, this gel is itself filled with water, and his surface of this gel is very well hydrated. That these near hydrophilic surfaces of this gel and practically all other hydrophilic surfaces, like the surface of quartz, like the surface of cells, like the surface of organelles. There originates the water which is structured. And about structured water, Igor already was telling you. So he has shown that if you immerse in water, which is nearby this gel, some indicators which we call microspheres. These indicators are very fast. There is a very fast processes of expelling these indicators from water which is nearby this surface. So water which hydrates the surface is very different from water in which these particles can be suspended. This water expels also from from itself not only microparticles, microspheres, but also macromolecules and also many low molecular weight molecules. So this water has different structure from water in which is a solvent for particles, for molecules, for ions. It has different structure which is reminiscent but not identical to structure of ice. And this water practically very important for all biology because if we look at any organism is the great collection of surfaces which are hydrophilic surfaces. Just imagine a cell which has a hydrophilic surface from outside, inside, which there is a lot of organelles in a cell which are also hydrated and so on. So cell is full with this water. So this discovery, or better to say rediscovery, because this was discovered or suggested by Gilbert Lynn in 1950s, and Saint Yerdi acknowledged this discovery. Then this discovery was made a little later by other scientists, but Pollock made this discovery organized and made other discoveries. So what is this fact, empirical fact, that water adjacent to hydrophilic surfaces which is called, before it was called interfacial water, Pollock called it exclusion zone water because it excludes from itself the molecules and particles which cannot be dissolved in it. Is different from bulk water in majority of physical and chemical properties. And water hydrophilic surfaces, I said it, these are surfaces of minerals, of nanoparticles, most of them, biopolymers, surfaces of cells and organelles. And this water is in contact always with bulk water. This is the chaotized water. So living any aqueous system consists of two forms of water: interfacial or exclusion zone water and bulk water, that is chaotic water, like water in most of water in a glass. And so this interfacial or easy water is the fourth phase state of water: liquid crystalline, quasi-polymeric, and coherent water. Bulk water is ordinary quasi-chaotic water. So there are many different differences between this easy water and bulk water. And I'll just only stress, dwell on most important properties of interfacial water. What are these properties? That electrons in interfacial water are in an excited state, and slight impulses can make them free. So when we were talking about electronic excitation, in a sense, this is already the state of electronic excitation. Easy water is an electronically excited state. And second very important discovery made by Pollock is that radiation, especially light in the infrared part of the spectrum or ambient warmth, increases electron donating capacity of interfacial water. So the appearance of this battery, negatively charged battery, this is the easy water, and the acceptor of these electrons or positively charged water. This is bulk water. They originate this charge separation originate due to the excess of external energy, which is energy of light and especially of infrared light. So difference in potential difference between interfacial water, which is, well, here it's written here minus, and bulk water, which is plus, may reach as large, may become as large as 0.15 volts or 150 millivolts. As a matter of fact, from this water now there are patents which allow to the extract energy or electricity from this just usual water, which is in a hydrophilic vessel. Now, how it was discovered? If you take a hydrophilic gel nearby which this easy water originates, and put electrodes, microelectrodes, into the easy water and another electrode into bulk water, then there is the electrical current, though well, small current, but which can continuously flow from this water to this water. And there is, using voltmeter, you can see the potential difference between these two waters. So this current may flow for a very, very long period of time between these two waters. And as soon as this battery is just the source of energy, Pollock discovered a very interesting and very unusual, very unpredictable phenomenon. That if you take a tube made of hydrophilic material, for example, hydrophilic polymer, and you put this test tube on the bottom of some vessel, well, the common sense will tell you that nothing will happen. That water in this tube and water in outside, they will be still because they should be in equilibrium with the environment. But what was discovered that when this hydrophilic tube is put on the bottom of the vessel, the continuous flow of water starts through this tube, and it flows and flows and flows for many, many hours. So this discovery was first rejected completely by scientists, and several years ago it was published in Science, in the one of the major scientific journal, Science. So through a hydrophilic tube placed in water, water can flow almost indefinitely without the influence of external force. This is the first indication, that was the first indication, that water is itself a source of energy in an organized system. And also Pollock and some other people, they have shown that part of our flow of blood through our vessels is supported not by pressure of heart and the pressure of muscles and so on. It is supported by the properties of water. One may stop heart, one may switch off the respiration, oxygen respiration, and water will for a long time will continue to flow through, not water, blood will flow through vessels for a very long period of time due to this excess of energy in this organized water system. Now, there is another, so water may serve a source of another energy, energy of electronic excitation. So I will just remind you of what I was telling a little before, that interfacial or easy water has reducing properties. That means it is a source of electrons. And as being a reducer, it may burn. That means that it can give these electrons to oxygen. Burning produces free energy and can produce chemical work or work of transport and things like this. So this water may be source of electrons, and these electrons can go to oxygen. Oxygen will be reduced to this with these electrons, and the product of this burning reaction is again water. Water is a fuel, and water is the product of burning. But energy will be released. When you have burning, you always get high density energy. And the intermediate products of this burning of water are reactive oxygen species. They are very high density energy is released when these reactive oxygen species recombine with each other. As a matter of fact, there is a question: how much this reactive oxygen species can originate from respiration? Respiration is oxygen consumption. We are living systems. We can consist of water, and we can consume this oxygen, which can burn our water. The recent experimental data shows that usually not less than 20% of oxygen which we consume is transformed into reactive oxygen species, which immediately disappear, converting to water. And in a state of excitation, when we are very excited, when we produce a very intensive work, this production of reactive oxygen species may reach 90% from all oxygen which we consume. But as soon as the stationary state of reactive oxygen species in the organism is few micromoles or even femtomoles, that means as they are produced and they immediately degraded, producing this energy of electronic excitation. So water is burnt is converted into another water, bulk water. When one can say that when all this easy water is burned, then the process should stop. So water is burnt and it transformed into bulk water, which is a ground state of water. But so structural, when structured water burning takes place, then quantity of structured water becomes less and less, and quantity of the product of its burning, unstructured water, increases and increases. And so when fuel is consumed, there is no burning. But this second discovery of Pollock, that infrared radiation or warmth is the energy which is always with us, which is always in the environment, is needed for conversion this bulk water back to easy water, makes this process like a perpetuum mobile. This is, of course, not perpetuum mobile, but this is the process of conversion of external energy, warmth, into energy, free energy of excitation, which can be used for production of different forms of useful work. So this property of water allows to restore initial high free energy rich state of an aqueous system. We use water and we gain water. We use organized water, and we, from non-organized water, build back organized water. So, in fact, this property of aqueous system probably determines the specific features of potentized aqueous solutions used for preparation of ultra-high diluted active preparations. I will not go into details. We already discussed a lot about this with Igor. But a lot of data accumulated, providing data accumulated, says that dynamization, succussion, agitation of aqueous systems results in water splitting, originating of reactive oxygen species in it, and generation of energy of electronic excitation in the course of their elimination. So aqueous systems may reside in this excited state very, very long time. Under normal condition, this process goes, but if you agitate these aqueous systems, you get more and more this easy water, you get more and more reactive oxygen species, and you get more and more intensive excited state of living matter. And this excited state of living matter is the source of these fields of which we are talking in the previous lecture. So how water converts into easy water converts into bulk water. There may be mechanical agitation of this water, but there may be chemical catalysts of easy water burning. And we just found that bicarbonate present in water, and bicarbonate is present in all waters practically with which we are dealing. Well, so waters in living organism always contain bicarbonate because bicarbonate is the product of oxidation, of respiration. So it is a catalyst of water oxidation. So indeed, that bicarbonate is very much needed for respiration, for oxidation, and also for oxidation of water. It was discovered also more than 100 years ago. So it was discovered that carbon dioxide is necessary for aerobic respiration at the end of 19th century. At the level of the body, if there is not enough bicarbonate in our body, then oxygen will not help your respiration. In order to consume oxygen, you need to have enough bicarbonate in your body. And so it is at the cellular level and at the molecular level. So the bicarbonate solutions are always burning. As a matter of fact, all good water which are drinking are all bicarbonate solutions. And in fact, we also have shown that bicarbonate support stable long-term water burning. If you take bicarbonate solutions, just like drinking water, mineral water, put them into hermetically closed vessel and add to this water a very, very small quantity of hydrogen peroxide in order to excite this bicarbonate solution. Then this water begin to burn, it begin to emit photons for many months, even in complete darkness. Here is one of the hundreds of experiments which we performed. This is we measured photon emission. Of course, here is exaggeration. It doesn't shine so brightly as in this picture. In order to see photon emission from such a bicarbonate solution to which we added a very, very small quantity of hydrogen peroxide, you need to have a sensitive photon counters. And these photon counters show that when you prepare such a solution, then there is such a intensity of photon emission from this solution. Something is burning. But this intensity then increases and increases and increases. I'd like to draw your attention to the scale here. This is 1 month, another month, third month. So the whole this plot is more than 1 year. So for first days, the solution becomes more and more intensely burning. And then it continues on this intense burning for at least 2 months. Then something happens there, something originates there, its burning becomes low, but still after 1 year, it continues to burn visibly. We are, in fact, our organism and organism of all living things, living systems, is is practically bicarbonate solutions, and our solutions, due to this property of water, is continuously burning, increasing electronic excitation of our living matter. And this excited state is very, as physicists know, is very sensitive to very, very low intensity external excitations if they are in resonance with the frequencies for this electronic excitation of this system. And what we managed to show that, for example, we took such a solution which was continuously burning already for a couple of months. So here is the stationary state. These are circadian rhythms. These rhythms are daily rhythms of this burning, and this burning may continue, as you could see from the previous slide, for many months longer. But at this, we were happy to monitor this burning when there was a moon eclipse in Moscow. And it turns out that when moon eclipse starts in Moscow, in fact, not only in Moscow, on all Earth, but in Moscow it was full moon eclipse, then intensity of this burning, which was at a stationary level for several weeks and so on, dramatically increased when the eclipse starts exactly at the moment of start of the eclipse. Then it reached a level which was higher several times the original level. And of course, eclipse ended here, but water stayed in an excited state for 2 days at least. And after these 2 days, 48 hours after eclipse stopped, then it dropped down to the original level, but still it was in a more excited state than before this eclipse. And I think that we know that the cosmophysical factors such as moon eclipse, moon phase, sun eclipses, the geomagnetic storms, and so on, they affect our state of our mood, state of health, and so on, especially in people with some problems. And here, water in a test tube, just the model of water in our organism, so dramatically reacts to these influences. I have no time to show you that it also reacts to addition of homeopathic remedies by change of its properties, like it was mentioned here, for example, highly diluted Fullerene solutions influence the intensity of water burning in this test tube and so on. But in fact, what is the major conclusions from what I've told you in this talk? I would like to summarize some unique properties of aqueous systems. Aqueous systems are capable of self-organization into holistic units. Igor German was talking about this. So especially when you have surfaces, hydrophilic surfaces, then this self-organization is promoted much easier. So these aqueous systems may extract low density energy, energy of warmth, or scientifically talking, infrared radiation from the environment, and convert it into high density free energy, making them charge systems. And being charged systems, they are capable to perform useful work. In fact, what is capable to perform useful work? Energy of excitation is converted to work according to the formula of Albert Sandierdi, and this is bioenergetics. So uh, aqueous systems, complex aqueous systems consisting of organized water and disorganized water is already the basis of bioenergetics. So the intrinsic activity allocate them with the capacity to receive resonant signals from the environment and react to them. And they may solve the source of coherent photonic or phononic radiations. Being in an excited state, they not only absorb energy, absorb this weak energy, but they are also these sources. They can emit these photons, and we call this phenomenon biophotonics, which was discovered by first by Alexander Gurevich in the form of mitogenetic rays, and which was studied later on by Fritz Albert Popp, who called this photon emission from living system biophotons. And the source of these biophotons, basically, again, it is complex aqueous systems. So aqueous systems ensure the mechanism of bioenergetics, energy transformation in living matter into mechanical, electrical, and chemical work suggested by Sandierdi. So the energy which is maybe conserved in such molecules ATP and other just molecules of other fuels and molecules also of water is converted into energy of electronic excitation and to water. And so I'd like to finish with the famous saying of Sandierdi: water is life, matter and matrix, mother and medium. There is no life without water. So Sandierdi just repeated was what Thales 2,500 years ago already proclaimed. So, obrigada pela atenção, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your attention.